Good morning. We're going to make it through the morning without rain. So welcome everybody. I'm Carol Gay. I'm the president of the Board of Trustees. And my first announcement today is to welcome Reverend Randy Partain. I'm not going to go any further in that because we have years now to get to know Randy better. So we have a very small chance of a thunderstorm this morning. And I'm just going to go over what the procedure will be in case that happens. We will go in the building, or you can go to your cars. We'll go in the building and we're going to ask you to make sure you're wearing masks if you enter, and that we can scatter throughout the building, fellowship hall, worship center, hallways. Just please make sure you maintain distance in that situation, because we would be putting ourselves in a high risk situation. And if you followed the news late this week on Delta, you don't want to be in an indoor situation without masks. And the other thing I would ask is if there's anybody around you who may need help at the point that we would call that you watch for them and you help people who might need to move slower. Chairs and stuff can be left here because our risk is a thunderstorm. And I think if it happens, we'd be in and out pretty quickly. So that's all for me. David.
Good morning. I'm David Cantor, host of UUCC Zoom In Live. That's the correct response. So I'm here to just let you know about our very special guest for our next show, which is a week from tomorrow on August 9th. I never saw the man until right now, but you're Dr. Partain, huh? Reverend Partain is going to be our guest on UUCC Zoom In Live on Monday, August 9th. Show is 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern. You'll get the Zoom In Live link the evening before, so please check it out. Please attend that show. It'll be interesting and entertaining. Hope to see you then. Bye now.
And I have an announcement from the Women's Wisdom Group. We've constructed a labyrinth on the west lawn. It will be up until 7 o'clock tonight. If anybody would like to walk it, please feel free. The labyrinth is an ancient practice. It's been used by many different faiths for centering, contemplation, and prayer. If you've never walked a labyrinth, if you look on the back of the sign, there's a little how-to. Hope you enjoy it.
It is a great pleasure to be with you all this morning. I'm looking forward to getting to know all your names again. I know that you have told me your names when I was here candidating, but my request is that you tell me 7 times and then hopefully I'll have it, but name tags will help too. I know that you've been doing a fantastic summer worship series on imagining different ways that we might think about God. And this continues today. One of our great strengths as Unitarian Universalists is our willingness to be open to different ways of seeing things and to hold that willingness in balance with our own deep convictions. And Alan has been encouraging us to adopt the rules of improv and say yes and to the many possibilities of conceiving the divine. So with a spirit of curiosity, may we continue today with an exploration of what if God is in everything. As you know, but it's worth reminding, whoever you are, wherever you come from, however you identify, whoever you love, and in whatever way you worship and encounter the divine, you are welcome here at UUCC. What an intriguing opportunity for a group of people striving to create beloved, inclusive community together. May we worship with curiosity and inclusion today.
Before we enter sacred space, I'd like to ask you to please make sure your phones are silenced or anything that makes a beeping noise, so that it doesn't disturb anyone during the service. We light our chalice this morning with the words of Doris Lessing. We are all creatures of the stars and their forces. They make us, we make them. We are part of a dance from which we by no means and not ever may consider ourselves separate. Ours is a welcoming community where we find connection, a spiritual community where we find meaning. Ours is a sharing community where our joys are amplified, and a caring community where our sorrows are lessened. We take this moment in our service to reflect on our joys and sorrows and acknowledge the mutual support of our community. Please feel free to come forward during the centering music and silently add a stone to our water bowl for your own joy or concern. I will place one more stone for all of the joys and concerns held silently in the recesses of our hearts. Okay, so we've come to this part of our service where we welcome one another. But because we do have a COVID covenant, we're asking that you please be aware of the tags that people are wearing. Green means okay to approach. Yellow means approach with caution. Red means distancing and no physical contact, please. And if you're uncertain, please ask. Now, please welcome each other.
Morning has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first word. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for them springing fresh from the word. Sweep the rain's new fall, sunlit from heaven, like the first dew fall on the first grass. Praise for the sweetness of the wet garden, strong in completeness, where God's feet pass. Mine is the sunlight, mine is the morning, born of the one night Eden so fair. Praise with elation, praise every morning, God's big creation of the new day.
I found something the other day as I was preparing to leave Houston. I don't know if you can see this. It's a feather. It's a pretty sizable blue jay feather, and I kept it with me mostly because I play a little game sometimes that involves collecting feathers. But aside from that, we probably see feathers on the ground a lot, and we may not think anything of it. Maybe we step on them. Maybe we just watch them as we pass by them, but we don't really do much to acknowledge the feathers that we see around. But since we have such good imaginations, imagine what it would be like if you knew that this feather had feelings. It might be a little tougher to just step on it and walk past if you knew it had feelings. You might treat it a little differently. What might you do with a feather if you knew it had feelings? Maybe you'd say nice things to it and you'd tell it what a beautiful feather it is. Maybe you'd touch it a little more consciously. Maybe you'd be a little more gentle with the way that you treat it. You might put it in a special place if you knew it had feelings so that it knew that it had some honor, that you were acknowledging it in some way. Maybe feathers don't have feelings, but maybe it can still be special in some way. I don't know what this bird's life was like. Maybe this feather came from a bird with an extraordinary life, with extraordinary experiences. This feather could have been places that I can't even imagine. This feather could have had experiences that I can't even fathom. Maybe there's something special about it. Or maybe if we think about our topic today, maybe with that same imagination that lets us imagine that a feather might have feelings, we can imagine that in some way, maybe God is a part of this feather, or maybe a part of God is in this feather, and the bird that the feather came from, and the ground where I found it. It's kind of an amazing thing to think about this feather as being divine. Would we treat a feather any differently if we knew that it was divine? And if we can treat a feather differently because we know it has feelings, or if we can treat a feather differently because we know or can imagine at least that there's some part of the divine in this feather, then maybe there are other things in our world that we might treat a little differently, that we might be able to look at and say, maybe God is here. Maybe there's some piece of the divine in even this mundane thing that I might have ignored otherwise. We like to use big fancy words as Unitarian Universalists. I mean, the name of our faith tradition is Unitarian Universalists, so we like big words. And so our covenant, sometimes we get lost in the meaning because we have these big words. We say we are part of an interconnected web of existence. But maybe some simpler words for that is that everything in the world around us maybe has a bit of the divine in it, if we're willing to pay attention to it and treat it that way. So I hope that as you hear the sermon today, as you're thinking about it in the days ahead, as you're pondering this possibility that God could be in everything, that maybe you'll look around you and see places where you might encounter the divine in a new way and be a part of that interconnected web of existence that connects us all with one another and the people we share this planet with, and this incredible planet itself.
So if you would please take a moment to take a deep breath. Listen to the daughter. Just relax. Starhawk, an eco-activist and witch, writes, "I've always been an activist. For me, the understanding that the sacred is immanent in nature and human beings means you can't just sit back and let idiots destroy her without trying to do something about it. Imagine what the world would be like if the sacred was seen in everything, in the air you breathe, in the water you drink, in the earth you walk on. Imagine what the world would be like if the sacred was seen in every one, women, men, children, as embodied in the word namaste, I see the sacred in you. Take a moment and imagine."
in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the land, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Our collection this morning will benefit the UU College of Social Justice. The UUCSJ was created in 2012 as a collaboration between the Unitarian Universalist Association and the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee. The mission of the UU College of Social Justice is to inspire and sustain effective and spiritually grounded activism for justice. They offer immersion learning journeys, justice training programs, summer internships, and direct volunteer opportunities with partner organizations in the U.S. and abroad. All programs are designed to help people cross boundaries, gain insight, and imagine new ways to make a difference in the world. You are welcome to put your offering in the collection plates as they're passed, or you can as they're passed, or you can give by Cash App. The information for that is in your order of service. Please give as you are able and willing and within your means.
Good morning. I've just recently been updated on the radar. It's skirting very close to us. but it seems to be north, so keep breathing, crossing our fingers. It's okay. This morning I was something a little unusual. Our global scripture reading is a piece of music. And I've asked Mike Carney to tackle a piece that is near and dear to my heart. Sam Beam is the founder of the band Iron and Wine. This is a song he wrote in reflection on the 4 sights of the Buddha. The story goes that the Buddha grew up in privilege and wealth in a palace, and it wasn't until he left the palace that he confronted the suffering that we all endure that he had not seen before. Sam Beam reflects on his own varied experiences of discovering what is holy in the world in a similar vein.
I was walking far from home, where the names were not burned along the wall. Saw a building high as heaven, but the door was so small, I saw rain clouds, little babies, and a bridge that had tumbled to the ground. I saw sinners making music, and I dreamt of that sound. I was walking far from home, but I carried your letters all the while. I saw lovers in a window, whisper, warn me like time. I saw sickness blooming fruit trees. I saw blood and a bit of it was mine. I saw children in a river, but their lips were still dry. I was walking far from home, and I found your face mingled in the crowd. Saw a boat full of believers say, I'm talking too loud. I saw sunlight on the water, saw a bird fall like a hammer from the sky, and a woman on a speed train, she was closing her eyes. I saw flowers on a hillside and a millionaire pissing on the lawn. Saw a prisoner take a pistol and say, join me in song. Saw a car crash in the country where the prayers are like weeds along the road. I saw strangers stealing kisses, giving only their clothes. Saw a white dog chase its tail, and a pair of hearts carved into a stone. I saw kindness and an angel crying, take me back home. Saw a highway, saw an ocean. I saw windows in a temple to the Lord. Naked dancers in the city, how they spoke for us all. I saw low-dyed linen tables and a motherless colt, and it was gone. I saw hungry brothers waiting with the radio on. I was walking far from home, where the names are not burned along the wall. Saw a wet road form a circle, and it came like a call from the Lord.
Suppose you could meet one of the old Unitarian leaders from back in the sepia-toned early years of our congregation. For example, we have a bust downstairs in Fellowship Hall of Frederick Hosmer. Frederick Hosmer was a minister in First U in the 1880s. He wrote hymns that are still in the hymnal. I read some very informative music notes from Mike Carney about those this week. Trying to understand a little bit about Frederick Hosmer. He was part of the social gospel movement. He supported early ecumenical projects like the World Religious Conference. His was a very important voice at his time, and it shaped both his world and it still shapes ours. But my question is, who was God to Frederick Hosmer? I'm using Hosmer as a stand-in here. I really have no idea what he believed personally. I'm just not sure we have enough information to get into his theology. But as a religious progressive in the 19th century, he likely imagined God in a way that we haven't really talked about yet in our series. The God that animated liberal religion. Yeah, maybe we're gonna take a break, it seems like, just as it's a little bit drizzling. Just bear with us and let's take a little time inside, and we will hopefully be able to come back out.
That'd be great.
You tell me what to do, and I'll.
So please remember to help
I
those
just
around
wanna
you.
end the
Maybe
stream.
help. You can leave your chairs under the awning.
Thank you, because I'm trying to get it to
All
click.
hallowed computer, blessed be.